Hey everyone, this is Steve with Entering Into Space, and welcome to another Entering Into Space podcast. So tonight, who are we interviewing? Kurt Zepetello. Kurt Zep, as he likes to call himself on his YouTube channel, AstroCrust1. So what does Kurt mean to me? Kurt was the guy that helped me get started into APT astrophotography tool, and I have no idea what I was doing when I downloaded that, but I found his videos on YouTube, and away I went. So thank you again, Kurt, for all your help and support. Whether you know it or not, you helped and supported me. If you're seeing my face right now and you'd like to just listen to us, drop on down to the description below where I've got a link to my BuzzSprout account, and you can check me out on my podcasts and any major podcast providers. I'm there too. If you're just listening to this and you're like, dang, I'd like to see their faces, head on over to my YouTube channel at Entering Into Space and check us out. So tonight, Astro Freaks, I give you Kurt Zepetello. Kurt Zepetello. Did I say your name right?
You did.
Wow.
First try. Yeah, I'm impressed.
There you go. Yeah. Well, it's great to meet you, and I certainly appreciate you taking some time off because I know we're all busy, and taking time off to talk to me about astrophotography.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm delighted to meet you too. For real.
Man. Yeah. Good to meet you. Maybe one day we'll get to shake hands someday.
That'd be cool. Something.
Yep. So I've studied you, man. I've done some research, and I've kind of noticed. So I know you've been at this a while. I think I saw one of your videos say you've been out this over almost 10 years or over 10 years. So what was your life like before this hobby? And then what the heck happened? How did you get into this?
I don't know. I was a normal person for a long time, and then this happened. No, I was always interested in astronomy, and I got a telescope as a gift for my wedding present, actually, 25 years ago. But I didn't do any astrophotography with it. I just was using it for observing. And then about 10 or 11 years ago, I saw the moon, and I was like, "Oh wow, a quarter moon!" And I was walking with my wife, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to take a picture of it." And I had my cell phone at the time, and took a picture, and it was some cruddy looking piece of, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, Kurt, that's pretty good considering you get it with a phone." I said, "Well, what do you mean it sucks?" She goes, "No, you need a real camera." I said, "Oh, you mean?" And she goes, "Yeah, you need one of those SLRs." Oh, cool. So I went out, and that was my excuse. And I went out and bought a DSLR, and I just got hooked right away. I mean, I bought that, and then I started, well, geez, I need something to track it with to get better this. And then one thing led to another, and I got a package deal telescope, and it just kept building and building and building on, and I just sort of fell in love with it. It's addicting.
Oh, yeah. So when you bought your telescope, did you have any idea about focal length and focal ratio, or did you went, that one looks cool?
I knew nothing, and unfortunately, Astro Backyard wasn't around at the time either. I think I was one of Trevor's first 100 people that subscribed to him.
Yeah, so I remember his. I remember one of his videos thinking his 70 subscribers. I remember watching that one. So yeah.
So I was like, there was no help. I think I put this in my latest video too. I purchased a package deal from Orion. I thought, I looked up telescopes online, and Orion was so big. So I figured, oh, these guys know what they were talking about. So, so I bought this package deal. I got an 8-inch refractor, but it was on the Cirrus mount, a big 8-inch refractor. And yeah, that's good for observing.
Yeah.
And you might be able to take a picture of the moon with that setup, but that's about it. That wasn't. It was not for astrophotography at all. And so yeah, I knew nothing about it. I did some research. Oh yeah, reflectors get better bang for your buck, so that's why I went with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that turned out to be not such a great thing. So I finally started doing some more research, and I discovered that, this telescope was way too big for that mount. So I went with a smaller refractor. I went and got the Orion ED80, which is a good telescope. For and I wish I would have gotten that for the package deal, and because that fit that mount really well. And so that was my imaging telescope for a number of years.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. It kind of aggravates me about those package deals because I did that too. I bought the Celestron Omni XLT on the CG4 mount,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's when it all really began. But you don't, those package deals seem extremely enticing. But like you experienced, they way over stress the mount with that scope for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So did you actually hook up your DSLR to that OTA and try to take a picture with it, or did you just bypass it?
I did. I started with that, and I took my first image of Orion, the Orion Nebula, and I got a 30-second shot of it, and it was good looking. It was purpley colored. It wasn't, it was like a 30-second shot. What you would expect. But I did get that, and I started looking closely, and I had a lot of chroma on it. Chroma, excuse me.
Yeah.
And so then I purchased. I had some problems here, and I wasn't auto guiding at all or anything like that, and the tracking was okay. But I did take that, and then I took a picture of the moon, and then that's when I discovered this wasn't right. Stuff wasn't right. I mean, it even felt like top heavy with the DSLR on that telescope with that mount. So that's when I started really doing some research and discovered, like, oh dear, I made a mistake. I mean, package deals are good if you know exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Like right now, I feel comfortable getting some package deals, but not then.
So, what walk me through that point in time, because I remember mine, and it was a real aha when you realized there was more out there to photograph than Orion and the moon. When there was just gobs of stuff. I mean, how did that pan out for you, or how did that happen?
And it's interesting you mentioned that, because after I got done realizing I needed a new scope, I had to get a new camera. Another thing, my DSLR I got, I purchased the absolute wrong one. I purchased a Nikon D 3000, and unfortunately, the D3000 does not have a live feature.
Oh, really?
Really? The D3100 did, though. The next upgrade did. So I got the last one that I shouldn't have gotten. So that wasn't good for us. So I didn't have a good camera. My telescope and my mount all were.
You're making it hard on yourself.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so I did get a better camera. I got the more appropriate one for astrophotography. I got the Canon, T3i.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is their D600, whatever you want to call it. But that was great. I even got it modified afterwards, after I had it for about a year or two.
Did you have somebody do that, or did you do it yourself?
I actually sent it to Hap Griffin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Hap Griffin over at the Imaging Infinity.
Yeah, I watched his video and did 2 of them myself. So.
Oh, you did? Okay, great.
Yeah, there was a couple screws left over, but it still worked. That's true.
Okay.
There were a couple screws left over.
I thought about it. I said, geez, I'm so new to this. I just really am not. I wasn't comfortable. I would feel comfortable doing it now, I think. But But at any rate, So once I got that set up and I got my new telescope and the camera, I started imaging. I didn't know what to image. There's so much stuff out there. I could do this. I could do that. I could do the other thing. And I just decided to go after the Messier objects.
Okay.
Yeah, so that I made a hardened effort to do every Messier object that I could do.
Yeah.
And, I didn't know about how long I should expose her. If I got over 30 minutes, that was good for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 30 minutes to an hour. I didn't really start thinking about long stuff. That developed later. So my first couple of years were just doing 30 minutes to an hour on an object.
Yeah.
And I just was going after every Messier object. It took me a couple of years to do it. And once I think the biggest help was when I built my astronomy shed,
Oh.
and that was in 2016.
Hmm.
I sent away for the plans from Astro Shed over in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
They make those they make those plastic domes as well.
Yeah.
And I got the plans. I paid like $50 for it, or yeah, $50. And I had to modify the plans, obviously. So I made an 8x8 astronomy shed, and it took me about 4 months to do it because I did it all myself.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got that built, I was able to do a lot more imaging. I was able to be much more productive. I live in a forest. I
Yeah.
live in an absolute terrible place well, I have one good saving grace. There's no streetlights in my town.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no streetlights.
And where's that
And
at? I apologize. Where are
I
you
am
at?
in I am in Connecticut,
Okay.
southern Connecticut. So I have Bortle 5 skies
Yeah.
directly over me. However, to the south is Bridgeport, Stamford, New Haven, and then after Stamford, you get into New York City.
Oh, wow.
So to the south, it gets real bad real quickly.
Yeah, I can
The
imagine.
light pollution. Yeah, it's so to the south, below 40 degrees, it's a cruddy sky.
Yeah.
And I also have my particular place. I live in a forest. I have a terrible field of view. If I can get over 4 hours on an object to the south,
Yeah.
like 50 degrees, 4 hours is a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's like. But to the north, I can actually get some. If it's above, about 40 degrees above, I can probably get it all night to the
Mm-hmm.
north. To the south, it's horrendous. I have nothing to the east. I have a wall of trees.
Oh.
So I usually get stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always late to like Galaxy season. Everyone else, I'm like a month into
Oh, yeah.
where people are
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
stuff a while ago. I can't get it because I have a wall of trees, big trees to the east.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
so and you might say, well, why'd you build an astronomy shed there? I said, that's the greatest thing I ever did because I can run out a couple hours, turn everything on. I can sit
Yeah.
in the house. I don't have to do anything. There's no polar light. There's no nothing. All I have to do is open the shed and press
Yeah.
the start button, and it works.
Yeah.
And I'll image for a couple hours a night. Even a couple hours is fine with me, and I'll
Yeah.
just keep doing it over and over and over again. Whereas if I had to go out to a site, I wouldn't be going out that much because I'm married and stuff and have a kid, so you
Yeah.
just doing other things. I probably would never do it. But with that shed, it's real easy to run out there for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And we have terrible weather up here in the Northeast.
Yeah.
If you don't like the weather, just wait 15 minutes. It'll change.
Yeah, that's how it is in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've
so
been up there. It's nice in the summer. Let's just say that.
yeah, nice in the summer, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
So what
But
was
anyways,
like? So what was starting out? What was the hardest? So what was a challenge that you just went? I don't think I can overcome this. In this hot and taking either imaging or processing, and then you finally figured it out, and now it's old hat. What was one of
yeah.
the biggest challenges that you overcame?
Well, I guess for imaging, probably some of the bigger nebula. After you get done with Orion, um, that's the creme de la creme. That's the one
Mm-hmm.
everyone does. That's the one that the big tutorial. When you do another nebula, I think I did my first really good nebula that wasn't Orion was probably, I'd have to say, the Rosette. I did the Rosette early on,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really happy. Actually, I should take that back. I did the Eagle Nebula. I could barely get it from my house. It was just above the trees. I
Yeah.
mean, I only can get it for like an hour
Oh, wow.
before it. Yeah, as I said, there's trees to the south of me too. So anything below 30 degrees, I can't get it from my house.
Oh,
I have to go
man.
off site.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I did get the Eagle Nebula, and I thought it was good. But right now, every time I look at that thing, I just cover my face and say, "Oh my God, this is awful." But
Yeah.
my first
Yeah.
image of the eagle, I said, "Okay." That I took it, and I had I think I had the UHC filter for it, and
Yeah.
it was red, but it was terribly processed. But then I did a few months after that. Then I did the Rosette Nebula, and that came out good, I think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's still not great, but it came out adequate for the time. It was great, and I
Yeah.
said, "Oh wow, this is good. I liked it." And I think at that point, you work on your equipment. You keep thinking the equipment's what's holding it back, and it's actually a constant battle. It's your equipment versus your processing.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I think you get so far with your equipment, and then your images aren't looking any better, but they could be better.
Yeah.
And then it's saying, well, maybe it's your processing. And it's I started with Photoshop, just Photoshop, and actually I didn't even use Photoshop to begin with. So
What'd you
that
use to
was
begin with?
well, I was just using stuff from Windows, the best I can do with Windows. And actually, what I did is I started using Star Tools.
Okay.
Star Tools is like a knockoff of PixInsight, and it's actually not too bad. Star Tools,
Yeah.
does a lot of stuff. I mean, it's nowhere near as sophisticated as Photoshop or PixInsight. But anyways, I did Star Tools. Then I went to just strictly Photoshop, and I was too cheap to go to PixInsight. I was like, geez, I don't know, I'm gonna spend $300 on it. Blah 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 blah. So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
so I held off on PixInsight for about a couple of years, and finally I just said, daggone it, what the heck, I'll see how it is. And so now I use both Photoshop and PixInsight.
Yeah.
I can see how you can use PixInsight totally. I'm not that good yet. I don't know if I'll ever be that good. Maybe when I'm retired, I'll watch all of that Adam Block's videos on PixInsight from beginner or something. But maybe when I'm done, when I'm retired, but I don't have time for it right now. And some of the stuff, I do everything I know how to do in PixInsight,
Mm-hmm.
or stuff I pick up because I watch Sean's Nielsen's videos a lot.
Oh yeah.
He's a
Great resource.
PixInsight master. Yeah, he's a real good, I think.
So that kind of segues into you started a YouTube channel, and I have to say I went to your YouTube channel to learn some stuff about astrophotography tool. We'll get into that in a minute, but you started a YouTube channel. What sparked you to do that?
Trevor did. I mean, just watching Trevor, he's going out there and he's putting in. So I said, well, geez, I'll tell people what I'm learning too.
Yeah.
I didn't do it to be monetized, for example. I didn't even know how to be monetized. I just make that because I thought it was just kind of neat.
Yeah.
And so I said, oh, I'll just do this and just start telling people. And I think it's kind of fun in it. And the other thing is that astrophotography is like a lonely thing. You're out there all alone, thinking, you feel like I'm talking to the raccoons or something.
Yeah.
At least make some videos. At least feel like I'm doing something when I'm out there.
I don't know about you, but still to this day, I think I looked and I have 83 videos. I think you got a lot more than I do, but still to this day, yeah, of course. So as soon as I hit that record button, I think everybody in YouTube land is watching me instantaneously, and I just go.
It takes me so many different trials. It's not,
yeah,
it's hilarious.
I always tell people that astrophotography is a lot easier than producing YouTube videos because I don't script a lot, and I've really thought of some really cool stuff to say, and then I'm just my mind, the zen, my chakras are aligned. I've got this beam of energy. I've got this great information, and everything is because I forgot to turn the microphone on. You know how devastating that? Yeah, it's just devastating to have to go back and
re-edit it.
Yeah, oh, it's terrible.
I like your videos because you're sort of talking to yourself when you're doing it, which is good. It's like,
Yeah, because there's nobody else out, just me and occasionally the dog or my girlfriend will spy on me every once in a while. But the astrophotography tool we're talking about, that was that like the first kind of software that you used to capture, or did you use like an intervalometer? And how'd you get started with going? Because that's like
What?
that. You got to have that program to take images. I mean, you can't be out there all night pushing buttons, even though we probably all
No,
did.
we tried it.
Yeah.
No, I actually started when I got my DSLR. I got the Canon,
Mm-hmm.
and I used Backyard EOS. I
Okay.
loved it. And
Yeah.
I absolutely love that program. The last time I used it was about a year ago, because I still
Oh,
use it
wow.
every once in a while. Yeah, just for giggles. So I started with that, and that didn't have a at the time plate solving built in, or wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really sophisticated enough. And it had been a couple of years, so I think it was about 2017 or 2018 that I'm probably going to get an Astrocam. I want a mono,
Yeah.
and so I was thinking I'm going to need something to run this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started doing some research on running the mounts, because Backyard EOS didn't really. It was good, but then it was good if you had a DSLR, but
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And otherwise you forget it. So I started checking in, and so I was looking, and the big things back then was Sequence Generator Pro, because everybody was swearing by that,
Yeah.
and Astrophotography Tool, and Nina wasn't around, of course, then. So I downloaded both. I actually bought Sequence Generator Pro,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, because I had a trial, and I actually took one image with it, or not a complete image. I think I took one night. I finally got it to use, but I thought I was going to use it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I purchased. It was like $100, so I started really playing with it, and I said, Jesus, man! And finally, what got to the last straw was it wouldn't run my guide scope on it.
Oh,
For
wow.
some reason, it wasn't guiding. And and I was reading some of the directions on it, and it was anything but user friendly. I downloaded one packet on how to run Sequence Generator, and it was about 10 pages long, and it's saying, here we go
Yeah.
again. Yeah, you shouldn't try to run this thing in 1 or 2 nights. You should run it for like 10 days, and here's what you do the first night. Here's what you should learn how to do the
Oh, my
second night.
gosh.
I'm like, anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
then I said, well, let me try this APT, and Ivo got back to me right away, because I
Yeah.
told him about it, and hey, I was trying to do this, and he's very helpful,
Mm-hmm.
and I started using it, and one night I was like, oh, this is great,
Yeah.
and so I just started using APT, and I was using that ever since. Well, I was using that for about 2 years,
Yeah.
making videos, and I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but focusing was the problem.
Yeah.
His
The autofocus.
autofocusing. He took too long in order to get autofocusing to work efficiently, and I think he lost a lot of people to Nina at that point, including
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to use both of them for a while. I was doing auto when Nina came out. Uh, I started. I was like, wow, this is great, because I was using that in like 1 hour. It was so easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of just fell in love with that, and I'm like, I'm gonna use this. But I tried to still use APT, and I was just doing the auto focusing in Nina, and then I would go back and use APT, and then finally just APT just petered off. I'm just strictly Nina for
Yeah.
my telescope that's in the shed, because I have a laptop out there that just strictly runs that,
Okay.
and that's my setup. Everything's all set up. Don't have to do anything. It's Nina's running it, and that computer that's out there. It's a drone computer, because I do it all inside. I just hook up using Google Chrome, Google Remote Desktop to run
Gotcha.
that computer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You know what I miss though about APT? I miss the lady telling me when the
Yes.
exposure started, and then when the exposure
Yeah, I
ended.
do.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then all that audible feedback, like when you would slew to a target and it would say target centered. I forgot what it would say, but
Yeah.
just sitting out there on the patio, nice and cold, and hearing her go, exposure started.
Exposure. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I do miss that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I do.
Yeah.
Because
But
it's some sort of comfort.
yeah, I don't know what it was, and my girlfriend used
You
to.
the computer, but it's still.
Yeah, she was talking to me. She was telling me all kinds of stuff. It wasn't just that. It was like I said, it was slewing the target, and
Yeah.
man, just about everything. There was a voice there
Oh,
telling you, and like, and that was one of the things when I switched to Nina was there was no audio feedback, and stuff would just happen, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, you had to like look.
no, look, right. Yeah.
Yeah, because we all have cell phones and they all ding dong and make buzzy R2D2 noises, and we know, oh, well, that's so and so just text me or whatever. So we like that. We're very audio.
cue.
Yeah, that cue.
Yeah.
We're like monkeys. We need that cue that pay attention. but that didn't. Nina was just dead quiet, and it took a while to get used to that.
I think you can turn on a sound thing for that.
Oh, really?
But I don't. Yeah, I think there is a sound option.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and you're using that, but I know you're using the ASIAIR Pro. So how did you transition to one of those guys? Because that's like the knock. There's those hardcore SGP people, or those Nina people like, I'll never switch. And I'm like,
same with the Pix Insight and the Photoshop.
Yeah.
I use both, and I love both. The ASIAIR, I have two ASIAIRs. I got the ASIAIR Pro, and I also have the Plus. I have both of them right now, and
ditto.
I got the Pro a few years ago, and I got that specifically to run my Edge. I got the 8-inch Edge. I have an 8-inch Edge that I purchased a couple years ago, and I bought that for Galaxy season. And I didn't want to, so I got the shed, right? But my other setup, I bought one of those buggies for it, those scope buggies.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a scope buggy, and so I have that sitting on the scope buggy, and then I put the Edge on top of that. So I just wheel that around, and I actually got the scope buggy before I got the Edge. I got the scope buggy because remember I was told you I have a terrible field of view here at my house.
Yeah.
Well, if in the shed I've got all the stuff to the south, nothing to the north. I can't shoot even above me.
Oh, wow.
That stuff, like the M81 and M82 from my shed, I got 45 minutes on it.
Oh, no.
That's it. Horrible. But
yeah.
In the front of my house, I have another little pad. I have 3 cement blocks in the ground, dug into the ground, that line perfectly up to my tripod, and they point right to the north. And then I've got a full good view to the north.
Oh,
but I got to set up in my area. So I bought the scope buggy so I can take my telescope off from I got the whole thing built up. All I got to do is just take it off and put it onto the mount and wheel it around to the front, and I'm ready to go.
Cool.
All right. So I bought another setup for Galaxy season. I bought the Edge. So now I just keep my Astrotech 115 refractor. That's in the shed. Okay. And that's all set up. I don't have to touch anything. All the wires, everything's all set. Don't have to do anything. I have another complete setup with my Edge, and I bought the ASIAIR runs that. The ASIAIR Pro runs the Edge setup. Okay. Cool. And that sits on the wheel, the scope buggy, and I don't have to really touch anything there. I just wheel it out and just line it up to the north, and then I'll do the polar line, but that's it. And I can wheel it out to my driveway, or I can wheel out to my front lawn. As I was telling you about, I got another place out there that is just everything is all lined up, so I don't have to waste a lot of time doing that. But for for that scope buggy setup, when I go out to the driveway or the shed, I didn't want another computer. I used to take my other little laptop, and I had to buy another little laptop and fumbling around and getting that all set up. I said, "This is stupid. Let me try this ASIAIR thing," and that's
Yeah.
what I do that ever since. I love the ASIAIR. I mean, the ASIAIR runs my portable setup. Well, I call that a port. It's not really. I call it my portable setup, but I don't know what one. I call it my wheelable setup or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but you can't beat the ASIAIR for that. I mean, it's just no compare. There's no computer, no wire, no laptop, no.
Mm-hmm.
And even the power, you don't need as much power. You don't have to run the computer or anything like that. It's just because it runs, and it's just such a great device.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of dew issues here, obviously, with the humidity, and I was coupling the ASIAIR with the Pegasus Pocket Power Box. I always struggle saying that, just so I could run the dew heaters. And I finally got the splitter cable, so I used the power outlets on the ASIAIR to control the dew bands, and that's worked. I mean, it's just eliminated that other thing that I didn't need. So
I know exactly what you're talking about. I use a power box too. I have the ASIAIR, and I'm going to buy another power box. So I'm going to have 3 setups now.
Oh, wow.
With 2 ASIAIRs, 3 power boxes. My other setup's going to be my little. Will be a portable setup. It's my the Ioptron SkyGuider Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got my camera lens, my wide field camera lens, the 200 millimeter camera with the ASI 2600. Cool. But I'm going to get another power box, Pegasus power box. For some reason, if I don't use the power box, sometimes my cameras don't work. It messes up with the power. I don't know if it's the ASIAIR linkage or my power source that I'm plugging into it. I have issues, but if I run it through the power box, it works.
Oh, yeah, I've had that with the mount. Sometimes the mount doesn't want to power correctly. I've had experience, never camera issues, but I've had a mount power issue.
The camera with the fan wouldn't work, but the camera's getting power. I don't know. All I know is if I use the power box, it works. That's all I can.
Yeah.
If I use the power box, it works, and so I'm going to get another one. You know, they're only a couple $100, so.
That was the thing about the Nina, and I had the plastic tote turned on its side. I did a whole video how to make it. I had a Wi-Fi booster inside. I had a power outlet in there. I had LED lights that would shine down on the computer. I mean, I tricked this thing out, but there was just times where nothing worked. The only thing that you could ever do to solve it was completely just disconnect everything, kill the power.
Yeah.
Let the demons get out, and then wait, and then plug it all back up, and hopefully it worked. You know, there would be times where you would log on and you'd go to do the Pocket Power Box, and it wouldn't connect, and then this wouldn't connect, and this would disconnect. Oh my God!
What a mess.
So it's a mess, and that's that troubleshooting part of astrophotography. But on the flip side, like last night, I'm working on a project, an M101 project, and with some other guys. And one thing Nina would have was once it did a meridian flip, or if it ever felt like the target drifted off center more than a certain amount, it would stop and replate solve. Well, last night I shot 8 solid hours of M101 and had to toss 3 of it because it had shifted. And it was almost like cutting off the galaxy. So, and it was really good. Well, you know what happened was when it did a meridian flip, I had clouds. And it just went nuts. Yeah. It was just bad timing. Yeah.
Oh, shit, man.
Yeah. And the other thing Nina would have that I wish ASIAIR would pick up is it had that focus ratio. So if it went to run an autofocus and for some reason there was a cloud, it would just resort back to the previous focus point.
Right.
Where ASIAIR it's not intelligent enough to do that.
Or not yet. They gotta.
Not yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that when you look at Nina and you look at SGP and you look at APT, there's a ton of bells and whistles, right? And you're overwhelmed. It's almost like it's too many options, you know.
Yeah.
Where the ASIAIR is just really stripped down. You do this, everything's built in right there, and that's what I
You know
really
exactly.
appreciate.
I love that. I really do.
Yeah.
And I you know, a lot of people don't like it because it can't run other cameras. I'm sort of mixed feelings. I wish it would be good if it could run other cameras, but I don't blame ZWO. I'm not, I mean, it would be nice if they would have it run other cameras, but you know, where the hell is everybody else? The ASIR has
Yeah.
been around for 5 years. No other company can make one, or I mean,
Yeah.
there's and everyone's, what was so? I mean, shame on everybody else. If
Yeah.
they made a product to run their cameras, they said, "Oh, we'll have it run our mounts." What's wrong with that?
Yeah, no, I don't, I'm right there with you. You know, if
It's like,
Nina could make something like that, they could, and they make a lot of money because their system's
yeah,
still free. You
I
know,
know.
I would pay for that.
I don't know. It
Yeah,
makes me want to start my own company and make our own thing. But it's
there
like,
you
where's
go.
everyone else?
Oh wait, I'll cut this out. I'll cut this out. We'll keep that to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a fun one. So you could go back in time. There's a time machine, and you could go back and grab Kurt 10 or 11 years ago, or 10 years, 9 years ago, and say, listen, here's $3,000. Let's go down to the telescope store, and I'm going to buy you a full setup. What would that look like, knowing what you know now?
I'd probably, geez, that's a, whew.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I should have said these questions ahead of time.
Yeah, no. Well, no, I'd probably get like I definitely have that Atlas mount. I like that Atlas mount. The Atlas Pro. I have an Atlas Pro mount, or the I guess it'd be the EQ 6R or whatever that mount.
Yeah.
I really like that mount. And I mean, if it was only $3,000, if I had like $10,000, I might get
I'm starting small here, man. Come on, yeah, that's 3,000. That's pretty generous.
Yeah, so I get that mount, and probably I think I just would have gone right to my Astrotech 115 refractor. I kind of like that's a good scope. It takes really good pictures, and I like the framing on it. Another good one would probably be the what's that one that Chuck uses there? That the
Explorer Scientific 127.
That was a good field of view too. I don't think I would have gotten the. I don't think I would have gotten the SCT. They're too little tweaky to use. My Edge. I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but they're sort of specialized, or at least as far as I can tell. So that's why I would go. I'm more of a refractor type person myself.
Okay. So would you buy him a mono camera or a color camera?
Well, that's a good question too. I really like I like both. And it's kind of funny. Having said that, my last two cameras have been color. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I bought the 2600 MC, but I specifically bought that one color for a certain reason. I wanted to, I'm dreaming about using that to take some wide field shots eventually. Some really wide field, just Milky Way type shots where you don't really need
all the filters.
And because I'd have to go off site, I don't think I'm going to be out there for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or more, going back to the same place over and over again. So, having said that, I think the color would make more sense. That's why I got the color version of that. Although I love mono, if I had a good field of view here where I live, I would never get a color camera. I'd have a mono everything. Which leads me to the other camera I bought, which was the 294 MC. That one I bought for Galaxy season.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure how long I'd be on any particular object. I decided, well, maybe I'll just go with a color for this one because I'm only going after galaxies, and I wasn't really worried about too much color for that anyhow.
Yeah.
So having said that, that's why I want my last two cameras to be color, but my next one's probably going to be a mono some type.
So. Well, I can tell you, I just bought the 533 mono,
Yeah, I was.
and I have one of my bucket lists. I'm going to ask you about this. One of my bucket list targets was, it sounds weird, Crescent Nebula. I have shot it. I've only ever shot it with a DSLR, and it was a really wide field. I've never shot it up close, and I've never been able to capture that great oxygen shell.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I've just got the kind of brainy filaments of it.
Yeah.
So I've got the 10-inch Newtonian shooting 1,000 millimeters. I've got the 533 with a little square sensor. So everything's obviously cropped in. And a 6-minute sub, I could see that oxygen shell. That thing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, you know, as far as like mono cameras, I can only imagine like Galaxy season. I was really torn between mono and almost bought the color, because Galaxies are like.
You definitely made the right choice with the mono.
But I'm glad I went with the mono, and now I have 2 mono cams going. But you know, I can attest to that one. If you're thinking about another camera, that is, the quantum efficiency is 90% in the blue range, but it's just been an amazing camera so far.
Yeah, I was looking on that, and the other one, of course, people were, you know, there's that one, there's the 294 mono, and then there's the 2600 mono. But here's the thing with the 2600. The size that you're going to be processing of each one of those images is huge. You better have a lot of computer stuff, because you're going to be you're going to be given these huge files. My God. Yeah. So that's why I appreciate the smaller sensor cameras. And plus, you don't need 2-inch filters. You can get away with the 1 1/4 filters. So if you're watching out for money, then that's another plus with the 533. And I know some other people with the 533s, and they love them too. So.
Yeah, and that was my biggest thing. I've got a couple of guys that are always prodding me to get the 2600, and I was like, to me, you know, I mean, honestly, I don't buy a lot of used stuff. I never have had a lot of luck with that. A lot of the guys I know, that's all they do is buy and sell used stuff. Right. I buy new because I have really crappy luck, so I might as well not push it. But
I understand that.
I just couldn't see dropping $4,200, you know, because that's really what it would be for filters and a filter wheel and a camera. You know,
you're absolutely correct.
You know.
You would, you know, because you have to get this special 2-inch filter wheel. The 2-inch filters are like twice as much almost. And,
oh my gosh, yeah.
And then then you better you're probably going to having to get a new computer because you got all this huge files.
Yeah,
so.
I had the 294 mono for a while, and I did shoot in that bin one where you had like 47 megapixels of resolution in the file. Not worth it. Not worth the file size.
Oh,
you
really?
know, I mean, the ASIAIR struggled.
No,
you know, it would get finished. It would almost get finished with another 6-minute sub before I saw the first one. And just trying to, get that out. And it was a great camera on the bin too, and it was great for the RC that I had it coupled with at 1600 millimeters. But I sold it, so I've moved on. But so processing, what's something that you used to do in your workflow that makes you just absolutely cringe? Like, I can't believe I used to do that, or, you know, something that you've matured from in processing.
Oh God. It's like lots of things, actually. I used, you know, you know, I guess when you first start out, what you used to do is just blacken everything a lot to hide all the cruddy background and the noise. You know, I used to, I look at some of my old images that are processed, and I was like, oh my God, that's right. I used to make it really, really black and cut things off.
Yeah, clip it a lot. And I rarely do that now, because I turn all the exposures, or the way I do mine is I turn everything really exposure way up, so I see all the defects, and I try to smooth them out when I'm doing it, and then I'll darken. The darkening's the last thing I do these days. Okay.
I don't know if it's an approach people take or not, but I do that because I hate noise so much that I want to get it all out there in the beginning and
Yeah.
get all the color, and then I get rid of it. But yeah, I used to blacken everything up a lot, and I just don't do that anymore. And I'm trying to think of what else I used. And I used to, I guess I would turn up, and I still may do this a little bit, turn up the saturation too much, trying to get color out of stuff that's not really there.
Yeah. 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 Did you ever enhance a specific color and you went, I like the way that looks, even though it wasn't probably supposed to be that color? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Uh,
But I think I really um, with I really got decent with Photoshop, but when I really got into PixInsight, that was when I started seeing a lot. There was a big improvement, I think, when I started doing PixInsight. Things started getting a little sharper, and I do my I use weighted batch processing pretty much all the time now for stacking, where I used to use Deep Sky Stacker. Every once in a while, I'll use Deep Sky Stacker. I mean, I think it's a good program, Deep Sky Stacker, and it's free. So
for a free program, it's always done really well for me.
Yeah. I've been using PixInsight, and I do a lot with PixInsight in the fact that I don't have any set flow. I mean, I just sort of hunt and peck with it, and I'll take things out of PixInsight and go into Photoshop, and then I'll go back into bring it back into PixInsight if you can believe it.
Yeah.
And I might go back and forth, and so I've been doing. And I am not I don't consider myself a really good processor yet. I consider myself adequate, and I can do many things in both programs, but I'm not a master of either one. So I know you're excellent in PixInsight, though.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
I hardly ever watch TV. I just process. If I'm just bored, I process. And there's some images because I figure it. And there's a lot of times I process stuff and never post it because I just want to keep working and I really it's therapeutic to me. I put music on. I always put the music that I listen to when I process because it's an inspiration. But and I'm like you. And there's time, it's funny because there's times where I have a star routine where I take it out of PixInsight and I put the stars back in Photoshop. But there's a lot of times when I bring it back into PixInsight and I look at the PixInsight version and I look at the Photoshop version and I don't like it. I like the PixInsight version better. I think it's cleaner. I think sometimes in Photoshop I have a real tendency, especially with that camera raw filter, I have a real tendency to kind of just overcook things sometimes.
Yeah.
It's easy to do in Photoshop.
It really is. You are absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Your processing has been phenomenal. I mean, if you look at what you did like 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and what you're doing now, it's like holy macro! Your curve is like that, straight up, and it's like incredible.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I get a lot of, and I'm going to ask you this question too, but I'm going to lead into it with mine because anyway, some of the best compliments I get on YouTube are, man, I watched this video and now I want to go back and process everything that I've already done. And I know for me that raw excitement of discovery that we had when we first started is hard to capture again. We've been there, we've done that. So that excitement is hard, but that excitement of like, you just learned this thing and you're going to go back and do all your data over. It still happens. And when I get that compliment, like, that's really awesome. So in your YouTube world, like, what's some of the best stuff that people tell you that really kind of brightens your day, or what's some of the best compliments that you get?
Well, I just say people, when they come and say, thank you very much for answering my question. Thank you very much for I love your videos because they're nice and quick, and they
Yeah.
got right down. Because
Yeah.
I do short videos, but they really appreciate it, and they also I've gotten a lot of compliments just for getting back to them pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll usually
Mm-hmm.
respond like within a day. I try to respond like within a definitely if a couple hours if I have time. Just
Yeah.
even responding back to these people because a lot of times I guess they get ghosted or whatever. But
Yeah.
they're really appreciative of that, and but yeah, it does. It really does make you feel good when you get a compliment, or if somebody comments on your video and just compliments you and saying thank you very much for this video, or it really helped me out. They were struggling for, like you just
Mm-hmm.
pointed out, they were struggling on this. Um, or if you give them a suggestion of what to purchase, like, yeah, what should I purchase? You give them, oh, I'd go with this. Oh, thank you. That's it. So
Mm-hmm.
it does brightens your day. It
Oh yeah.
really makes you feel like
Yeah,
you're
and
useful.
oh yeah,
You've
yeah,
done well.
yeah. And I started YouTube because I was frustrated with people who just pontificate too much or wouldn't get to the point. And I was like, just tell me, because people I go to YouTube to learn how to fix something. I got a
Yeah,
problem. I want to fix it. Right. And
yeah,
I think that's why I started. I was like, okay, I think I can explain this better.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you're a teacher, right? You're a science
yeah.
teacher. So you have a whole career of explaining probably very difficult things to minds who need to be tightened up. So
Yeah.
how has this astrophotography thing affected you as a teacher? You think it's made you better? How's it affected your life, outside of astrophotography?
That's an interesting question. I think it's helped. Well, some of my students know I have a channel now because they're all into TikTok and YouTube and all that.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so a lot of them, oh, well, they think it's kind of funny that I'm on
Yeah.
that I've got a YouTube channel, and and I now teach our school has an astronomy course now, so
Oh,
it's
very
a
cool.
yeah, it's a half year course, so it's like a introductory course, so it's nothing too fancy, and it's a very eclectic course because I might have like the valedictorian in the class, but I'll also have you know
Yeah.
Dickie Mo,
Not the valedictorian.
not valedictorian in the same class.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's where you never know who you're getting. So in the
Yeah.
class, so it's
Okay.
pretty funny. But it's a good.
What grade do you teach them? What grade are you teaching?
I teach sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Oh, so
So
you
I've
get the
got
pre-adults.
yeah, chemistry is mainly juniors, unless they're sophomores. If they're in the honors program, they're sophomores. They're taking a year early,
Yeah.
and sometimes you get a straggling senior in there. And I
Yeah.
also teach advanced placement chemistry, and then that's mainly juniors and seniors.
Yeah.
And then the astronomy, generally it's seniors looking for a course that they need to graduate. they're not even
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
astronomy. So, a lot of people, some people are, but they're you never,
Yeah.
like I said, it's an introductory course, so it's fun though.
Gotcha.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this, and this isn't meant to be funny. This is serious. My girlfriend's a teacher. She's an English teacher. She used to teach high school, and the horror stories I hear about trying to teach these kids with taking their phones away and all, and how distracted they are, and their parents. I have to personally thank you for your service
Oh, no
because,
problem.
yeah, it's got to be a challenge. I can't even imagine.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
But a couple more years and I'll be done.
Yeah.
Hope I do
There you
then.
go. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. So if you had a room full of kids, in this astronomy class, which you do have, and there's that passion, right? And so what do you, if somebody said, hey, just, I want you to get your passion across to these and to get them just to go to look up, just to simply look up,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say from an emotional kind of standpoint about how the cosmos has affected you so that you could relate that to these kids to get them to be curious?
Well, you got to try, and in my first, when I first get to class, when it first starts, that's exactly what I do. I said, hey, look, there's so much out there in the night sky, and I tell them, hey, this will come in handy for you guys because you're going to learn, at least to start off with, you're going to learn just to look up at the night sky with your own eyes. You don't even need any
Mm-hmm.
fancy equipment. and you'll be able to look up and tell, oh wow, that's the North Star right there, because I'm going to tell you exactly where to find it. And you're going to be able to look up at some of these other constellations. You're going to look good on a date, for example, because you'll be able to just point stuff out. And it's so interrelated to us, and it's so interrelated because it, in ways that you don't even realize it is. Years ago, like people, that's all they had for entertainment was looking up at the night sky. People before light pollution, that they knew a lot more than we think they knew back in the day as well. I think, and I try to bring that to the kids' attention. And plus, I also mentioned that the Navy, the U.S. Navy, they used to have a celestial navigation program. They took it away, but they brought it back a few years back, because if they have a power outage, what the hell is
Yeah.
it, what are they going to do? Well, if that's how they used to navigate, by the stars. And
Yeah.
so they brought it back. So most of those Navy people know about navigation too. I mean, it's just so interrelated. And we do, it's related to the tides. We live near the coast here in Connecticut. I'm pretty close to the coast, so tides are pretty important. That's all astronomy. The eclipses, that's all astronomy. The when to plant the crops, that's all astronomy. The whole thing, it's so interconnected with us in ways we don't even know and appreciate. You just gotta show that to the kids.
I heard, and it blew my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that the tides and the moon actually, because of the gravitational pull of the moon, it actually slows the water down. So it's the earth rotating kind of under the water that creates those tides. And that's how that moon is affected. Is that kind of close? Because when they told me that, I was like, wait a minute, it's kind of slowing the water down, but the earth's still turning.
Yeah, what's happening is the days are getting longer. Back 4 billion years ago, the Earth, it was only 14 hours for a day, and the moon's slightly slowing down the Earth. The bulge of so the Earth is spinning, right? Well, that Earth spinning, the gas is actually pushing the bulge is a little farther ahead than the moon is. So if the moon is here, Earth is here, the bulge is actually, Kurt probably can't see it from here, but the bulge is actually pointing a little off center from where the moon is, believe it or not, if you can believe it, slightly off center. And the reason there's two tides is because the moon is pulling the water closest to it farther, right? But there's an opposite tide on the opposite side of the Earth, because the moon is actually also pulling the center of mass of Earth, but it's not pulling it as much as it's pulling the water closest to it. And the water farthest on the opposite side of the Earth is not being pulled as much at all. So that's why there's a bulge on the opposite side. That's why you have a tide every 6 hours. Every 12 hours. So there's two tides. Yeah. And it's really wacky.
Oh, wow.
So even the ground is being pulled. It's being pulled about 9 inches, 6 to 9 inches. Gosh. Yeah. So your house is going up and down.
I knew you weighed less. Is it less on the equator or more on the equator?
Less.
I don't know. Less on the equator.
Because you're farther away from the center of mass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember watching
people.
Yeah. I remember. It was funny too. I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was talking about the craters on the moon, and he said, "Why aren't there any skid craters? Why are all the craters perfect circles?" And it was like this whoosh, because I was like, wait a minute, I've been looking at the moon and taking pictures of it, and I never noticed that there isn't any skids. They're all perfect circles. And he was talking about the impact of kinetic energy and static energy, and then it always creates an explosion which disperses everything evenly. I was like, oh yeah, science. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Yeah. So what's something that you, in this hobby, either with gear or processing or just astronomy in general, anything that you feel like I've really devoted a ton of my energy and learning all these things, but this over here, I just kind of squeak by, but I really want to learn more about it. Is there something that you feel like you really want to try to learn to kind of catch up with everybody else?
The planetary work, I don't do a lot of that, and I don't do solar
Yeah.
work, but I do have a Quark, but a couple of years ago I purchased one, but I haven't done much of that because I think I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I would really like to, but I'm trying to, that's where I'd like to go eventually. But if there's something that I'd like to really learn more about, that would be Pix Insight even more. Because I was telling you before, I'm not a master of anything. But Pix Insight, I just, there's people that can do so much with it.
Mm-hmm.
That I can't. There's things that the reason I go into Photoshop is just because I know how to do it in Photoshop. I'm sure you can do it in Pix Insight,
Yeah.
but right now I do it in Photoshop a lot easier. And I think I got to learn Pix Insight even more. I think is where I really gotta I gotta beef up, and I'd really like to learn that a lot more.
There's a lot of stuff in there that I don't use. I don't know how to use and might not ever use.
Yeah, same here.
Doesn't say that I can't learn it. It doesn't mean that there's nothing stopping me from learning it. I just don't need it right now.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of scripts that I don't use. There's a lot of different processes that I don't use. Obviously, I really had to do a lot of work, and I did a video on deconvolution. It took a long time to learn that, and now Russ Croman has just destroyed all that learning process.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I'm happy he did because I started doing some deconvolution, and I never thought it was that great. I mean, or at least what I did with it, I probably did it wrong, but I something else I still can't do.
What's that?
The color calibration. Every time I try color calibration, it messes everything up. I don't know what the hell I'm doing wrong. Gotta be stuff. Yeah, I can't. I've never been able to photometric color calibration or the new one there. I just for some reason it just whacks. I don't know what the hell I'm doing wrong. It's humor. It's almost funny. It's comical.
Yeah.
I laugh. I do it. Oh, here we go. I'll try it out.
Yeah, you try it out. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because WBPP will write in the coordinates of your image, right? Yeah. And then you have to have that for the new
one,
photo. Yeah.
Yeah, for the new one, the spectrophotographic one.
Yeah, which is weird, but as soon as you crop it, you destroy that information.
Yeah, then you got to read.
And but it's like I've had images that have big black bands on them, and that has to affect your color. So why would that tool not already assume that you're going to crop? Like, who would do a color calibration with a big triangle?
Yeah. Why would it do that?
But and a lot of and I think I've mentioned this before, like with details and color and things like that and processing. How accurate are you really going to be? How much can you really tell that shade of orange is not quite the right shade of orange? That I think you can really get caught up in those details and not just sit, you don't appreciate the fact that you just took an image that's 20 million years old or 5,000 years old, which not a lot of us can do. Right. And we spend so much time fretting over, like we spend a lot of time fretting over our guide graph numbers and our spectroscopy numbers and our color calibrations. And then I think it kind of takes away from just the sheer appreciation of what the hell we just did,
Yeah.
So Elon Musk flies into your house in Connecticut and says, I got a spaceship. It can travel 20 million light years a second. I'll take you anywhere in either this galaxy or the universe you want to go to see whatever it is you want to see in real life. Where would you go?
Wow, what a question. Well, I'd kind of like to. Well, if it could take me a couple places, I'd really like to go to the moon, Mars, and then I'd like to go take a look at pretty close to our center of our galaxy or something like that. Check it out. Check out the maybe not the exact center, it's a black hole there, but a little off.
Yeah.
And maybe check out some of those nebula, maybe just to see if it really looks like that out there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you know,
I heard the density
that
of the density. I heard you wouldn't even know you were in it. I
yeah,
heard.
I think somebody said that we could be in a nebula. They think or something, but you wouldn't
Yeah,
know it because the
the
particles are so
density of gas.
dispersed.
Yeah,
But you know what? Don't tell me that. I want to make.
yeah.
I
Well,
want
the
to
sun
imagine
is
it's more beautiful. Yeah,
the stars will
yeah,
be colorful. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'd like to go out and turn around and look at our galaxy. I would like to photograph
Oh, that
our
would
own
be a good
galaxy.
one. Yeah. It would
Yeah,
be like
just
that
to see.
Star Wars thing there when they did in Empire Strikes Back. They went out and they looked
Yeah,
down at the galaxy or something. That'd be kind of neat.
yeah, yeah. I think
And see if it
that's
really
what
looks
I'd
like.
want to do.
See if our model of our galaxy really is true. So.
Yeah, it'd be amazing to see because there's those other little dwarf galaxies that we have, the Large Magellanic Cloud and stuff
Wow.
like that. But it'd be amazing to see because I think there's something beyond in our galactic core plane that we're not seeing. That could be
Other
pretty amazing.
probably.
It could be
It could be.
yeah.
Well, they've got those other those dwarf galaxies too. There's like about, I think there's like at least 9 of them. There's these other ones that are circular blobs in our
Oh
surrounding
wow.
our galaxy. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I was surprised. It's more than just a large, small Magellanic clouds.
Oh wow.
There's more
Yeah.
than that. Yeah.
We could be like the Whirlpool galaxy. We could be just devouring some other little galaxy and
Well,
not
that'd
even
be
know
kind
it.
of
I
wild.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, that would be a good one. That'd be a good one. Looking down on it.
Yeah. I had this crazy theory one time that black holes really aren't black holes. They are dark stars. They're
Hmm.
stars of so huge that their own light can't even escape. But they're the what holds all of our galaxy together. So because we all think of a hole, we think this big funnel, right?
Yeah.
But we really don't know. But maybe it's just maybe it could be a star that's like 3 light years in diameter that just kind of it's so big its own
So
light
big.
just kind of goes like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I daydream a lot. And speaking of that, so what's an astro daydream for you? Like you could have anywhere, go in, buy anything, do anything. What do you daydream about?
I keep daydreaming about getting a really good, really one of those mounts or those. Uh, who makes those mounts? Not the my telescope mount or the red ones there. What am I thinking of?
Oh, the software bisque.
Yeah, software bits. I
Yeah.
always wanted one of those things.
ME mounts or yeah.
Mini
Yeah.
mount. Yeah, something
Yeah.
really like that. That's what I dream about.
Yeah.
Having a good mount.
Yeah. 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 Uh,
Yeah.
I definitely have thought about making an astro goal in the next 10 years is to buy less stuff that's mass produced.
Yeah.
It's stuff that's one off that you say, I want this. And then somebody says, I just got an order and they go put it together. Some technician puts it together, not some company in China just beating these things out.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a daydream.
So you got,
yeah.
yeah. So let's wrap it up with your 2023 astro goals. You have anything you haven't done, any targets you haven't shot, anything that you want to accomplish in 23 that you got plans for?
I'm thinking, like I said, I already got some of the things. I did sell a couple of equipment. I sold my. I actually sold a Hyperstar. I had my Hyperstar, and
I saw that.
yeah,
You teased us all, and I was like, ooh. And then I saw you flash up. It's already been sold. I was like, dang it.
I sold that, and I sold some other stuff. But I want for equipment wise, I'm going to get another power box, and I'm going to try my best not to get another telescope or anything like that.
Good luck.
No, and
Good luck.
but I just want to beef up on the equipment, find out what I'm really using, what I'm not using. And for targets, I'm always looking for. I don't know if you looked at my images or not, but or stuff or what I do, but I like to get off the beaten track.
Obscure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you really like you and what's his name? Doug Strubble.
Yeah, Douglas. Yeah.
Yeah, he puts 100 hours on something that's
I don't know how he does that.
you've never heard of.
Yeah.
That guy needs a pat on the back, seriously. But yeah, I've noticed you've been taking that path too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's me. I try to find the less. I mean, I'll do popular objects, obviously, but anything that's new or anything that people haven't done before, that's what I like to image. So I strive for that. And I'm going to continue with that. This year, I want to get some more galaxies. We know a galaxy I haven't gotten yet was that's the. I don't think I've done the Needle Galaxy, and that's a popular,
Really?
very popular. Yeah, like a super
That's
popular.
interesting.
Yeah, like some of the most popular galaxies out there for galaxy season I've never done before. So I'm gonna hit that one, and maybe I'll try to get the Sombrero Galaxy. I've only done that once, and I haven't done it with the Edge. So
Yeah.
so that's another galaxy that's coming up soon, or fairly soon, I guess.
Yeah.
That I want to get. And for summertime, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I've got some ideas. Like I said, I want to get that other mount. So I'll have like 3 different setups that I can actually pick and choose to image with.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only once imaged with all 3 setups going at once, and that's never again. Never again. Never again. No, I'm not.
No.
It's
daunting, isn't it?
It's not fun. It's not what we consider fun. It's not fun. What about you?
Kurt,
You got any big targets? Or?
I am working on a collaboration, my first one, with a couple of guys, trying to get some serious time and shooting something in filters that it's not normally shot in. And I'm already discovering some structure that I can't find in any picture that I've researched. So I'll talk to you more about that offline.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because you were talking about popular targets that you have an image. I think that's a great question I can ask in the future and I have one. I've never imaged the Lion Nebula.
Oh, really?
Lion Head Nebula? Never.
Oh, that's a good one.
I've tried the flying bat and squid.
Yeah, I've done that. That was a good one.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I've tried that one once, and
I got that a couple. Yeah.
And I ask a lot of people, like, what's a target that's like your nemesis, like the one that you've tried and you just never have.
Oh, that's easy for me.
With it.
That's the witch head.
Oh, me too.
It's in a terrible. I need to go somewhere to do that one. It's too light polluted. I tried it once and it was like.
It's hard. Yeah, all that dark dust. The guy that I interviewed, Wade Hustad, I said his name right.
Yes.
From last week, he has a remote observatory, and he sent me a picture. I'll send it to you when we get off because he goes, "Can you guess what star this is?" And I was like, "I don't know." And it is completely surrounded with that dark, dusty nebula. I mean, just saturated with it. And I was like, "I don't know." And it was Polaris. Just blew my mind. Yeah, but he's able to get that stuff in Bortle 2 skies, but just amazing stuff. But Kurt, I definitely super appreciate your time tonight and getting to know you better.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
You too as well. I really appreciate it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and want to have you back on, because I'm probably going to run out of people for too much longer. So I'm going to have to do some follow-ups. Hey, what are you into now? Kurt Zepetello, where's he at now? Yeah. So and then when you retire and you've got all kinds of time, I definitely want to have you on then. So for sure. Right. But yeah, I really appreciate it and have a good evening. And thanks again for coming on.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
All right, man. See ya. Yeah. See ya.